Hi guys, it's Mike here with another video. This time it's about the truckers, an update about what's been happening here. And well, I want to start with the situation about GoFundMe and the thing that they seized $10 million were uh, donations to the Canadian truckers, and the people from GoFundMe called it the Canadian truckers call it the situation like occupation, and they were they won't give them the money or something like that. I guess I suppose it might be Canadian government call. Of course, guys is kind of a tyrannical dictator, and instead of meeting with the truckers, he prefers to keep going with the fight, using all the government resources, the people's resources, to do his will, not the people's will. So and it's funny though, because GoFundMe said this, and he gave money to the people in Seattle who occupied part of the city and destroyed the part of the city. They were, dead people, involved dead people, and a lot of things. And they gave the money when they protesting with the BLM, the Black Lives Matter, BLM. And it's worse because the people from BLM ended up buying houses, luxury houses in LA and state of California, and actually in Canada. One of the leaders of BLM resigned, and they received money. So it's very bad for GoFundMe. Doing this kind of stuff shows their double standards, the hypocrisy. They're partialized, and with some thinking, some some different way of thinkings, and if they're Black Lives Matter, give them whatever they want. If there's something I don't like, or I don't agree with, block him. That's something to think about. It goes against our liberties. But as we can see, the Polish people who lives in Canada support Canadian truckers. Most of the people who lives in Canada come from these countries that have been living under dictatorships, under uh, under oppression and communism, are the first one to help the people who's fighting for freedom, because they know, they really know what is happening. Also, the truckers have arrived even to Toronto, Ottawa. It's so big. The pressure is so big. The two Canadian provinces, Alberta and Saskatchewan, are discussing ending the COVID restrictions, even the COVID passports. It's a good thing, because this is nothing. In my own perspective, it's nothing. It doesn't have to do with COVID. It's about liberties. It's about freedom. And how we see, how we can find out about this. It's because the way Mr. Trudeau acts. He called the truckers racist, killers, the renegades, destroying every city where they park their trucks. And the worst part is, he won't meet with the truckers and listen what they have to say. You're the prime minister, for God's sakes. You're not the owner of Canada. You're an employee of the people. You're the administrator of the resources of the country. That's your job. With this attitude, you only show you're a fascist. The only thing that Mr. Trudeau shows, he's a disgraceful leader. Because he talks about social justice, climate change, or whatever thing is not important anymore when you have people on the streets claiming for stuff. That's why he's a disgraceful leader. Because you have to meet with them, listen to them, talk to them, understand, trying to understand what he's saying, not telling the people what to do. That's not your job as a prime minister. You know more than the other people. Some people are there because, connections. No more than that. And the thing is that if you check internet, Twitter, and non-governmental organizations, they say that the truckers are peaceful. Even the police. They were interviewing a policeman, and he said they were peaceful, and that is something nobody can ignore. So he's telling to the government, you can ignore this. You cannot ignore this. They were honking and everything. And, basically the government took another decision, and is to call the tow truck companies. And the thing is that when people is united, like what I'm seeing in Canada, the government cannot maneuver, cannot move so much. They have to negotiate. They have to make concessions. Because the tow truck companies told them that they had COVID. They have COVID, and they cannot. They are isolated. They cannot respond to the call. So this shows dictatorship. This shows that they don't care what people need to say. Of course, he might be the son of Fidel Castro. He might be the son of Fidel Castro. I don't know. That's what people say. He looks kind of a young Fidel Castro. And, I always, he was, his parents were friends with Fidel Castro, where both were very tied to him. And I cannot trust a man whose parents were that close to a dictator, who put all the Cuban people in misery and let them flee the country, and make them flee the country. I like to see Canadian people united, because even though you see some people talking shit about the truckers and everything, and being kind of disgraceful talking about that, but the thing is that I see something I didn't see, for example, in Venezuela, where people were divided. Even the people who ended up leaving the country when the people was protesting and closing the streets and without destroying anything, just closing the streets and getting killed by the police and the army in the streets. Some people call them a lot of stuff. They have to work. They have to be, and they ended up losing their jobs. They ended up, not because of the protests. It was because the country went into an economical failure, and they left the country. So they were against the people who was trying to reinstaurate democracy and everything, and in the end they ended up leaving the country. See, that's why we have to be united. Don't talk bad things about the other. Just listen. Anyone, just listen. Of course, you listen, and if you see it makes sense, okay. If it doesn't make sense, you can debate with that person, and tell him, not if he's wrong or anything, but you look, and you you talk to them, and tell them your point of view, and everything. The thing is that we're seeing here tweeters about even the see, Canadian soldiers cautioned against showing any support for truckers, and it's a dictatorship. They it's not about, it's about freedom. Uh, so, for example, you can see here Canadian convoy gaining momentum. The people in the streets. So a lot of people talking about that. Polishing migrants just arrived in Ottawa.
Show me what's happening.
People helping, as you can see in these tweets. See, for example, it's unspeakable that GoFundMe are refusing to pay out, given to Canadian tractors protesting against the tyrannical Trudeau regime. I have used them before, but will never use them again. That's personal stuff, but I agree. GoFundMe canceled the Canadian Truckers Convoy because they say it became an occupation. But there's GoFundMe in 2020, as I said, offering official support of Little Marcy's occupation of the U.S. city. I didn't say Marcy's, but it's about BLM. Um, so, for example, they're credit to Elon Musk and Ron DeSantis standing up for the GoFundMe debacle over Canadian truckers. As you can see, they're organized. For example, Sean Hannity says something about taking steps to end COVID restrictions. It's what I said before about the provinces. Something is happening in Australia, as I told in the last video, that this could be, spreading in other countries with these, COVID passports and COVID restrictions and mandates and everything. It's gonna be spreading through the world, especially the countries that are too too tyrannical with these things. And GoFundMe backtracks on redistributing the money for Canadian trucker on the threat for investigation. There's a picture of a picture of Trudeau dressing as. This is funny, but it's what we were saying before. This cartoon is good. About, for example, there's Stop Castro's little bastard. It's funny, but I will say before, it is what most of the people is saying. He looks a lot of the resemblance is uncanny, and you know it might be. It might be. What else? For example, this guy. It sure would be funny if downtown Ottawa residents started spraying water on the truckers' doors, freezing them inside. It's some people has no respect for anybody. They only but if you see that guy, they will asking for respect when they treated bad. So when they were treated bad. So as far I can see, it's not kind of divided. They want to make it look more. There are more the support on the guys that. Uh, more supporting than hate. But there's some people Here's a Canadian trucker.
City have to stand up to fight for our liberty, for our freedom. Without their support in whole Canada, it is very possible to not succeed here. But we need, people to stand up in thousands of locations to see these criminals that we are not a fringe minority.
Because even he installed them. There's Tucker Carlson.
All the leaders of almost all the countries in the Western world, particularly in the English-speaking Western world, seem kind of the same. They're all what we call neoliberal. They're all weak and fearful, if you think about it.
See, here's another convoy to Canberra, inspired by the protest Canadian truckers, heading to the Australia capital. Here's a news.
Without masks, protesting against vaccine mandates has laid siege to Parliament House in Canberra. The convoy to Canberra has grown over the course of the week as politicians prepare to return on Monday.
They came in their thousands to the national capital.
See, it's spreading. It's spreading, and it's good. It's good because, see, for example, if you agree with something, that's why I don't believe in politicians and the things they have to say, because when it's against their beliefs, they will diminish the situation. They will call it fringe. And if you see Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the whole point of protesting is to make people uncomfortable. Wow. And what happened with the BLM and people burning down businesses to the ground? Activists take that discomfort with the status quo and advocate for concrete policy changes. Popular support often starts small and grows. The folks who complain protest demands make others comfortable. That's the point. Well, as you can see, most of the people agree with these. They're trying to change that, and most of the countries around the globe that have these mandates and everything, as looking at how it's developing, that most of the people vaccinated is getting COVID. It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work. So you need to change that. You need to, you need to look it from another perspective, to listen to the people, and of course, well, she supports really. I read the first thing and I thought, she doesn't agree, but she's agreeing, and with the truckers and the protesting. And it's good, the peaceful protesting. I love that, and especially with against dictators and everything. Of course, he cannot act like Fidel Castro, that he killed the opposition and the people who were against him, and put everybody in jail. But he cannot do this because this is a different situation. But I will tell you one thing. If he was a leader from another third world country, he will be doing that without thinking. Well, guys, that's it for today. I hope you liked my video. Subscribe. Bye.